in English, but there's Chinese under there. This is the Magnum technology. It's a regeneration technology. It's voltage driven, just like the pacemaker, and it was basically developed like the pacemaker for the motor nerve. It was founded by the Multiple Sclerosis Society in earlier on. Now, what does it do? What does the Magnum do? The Magnum is like going to the gym. Instead of going to the gym, you do the Magnum. It's as simple as that. So one treatment is like 1 month in the gym. For the average person, not people that go to the gym, of course, they're experienced gym goers, but the average person, one treatment will be like 1 month in the gym. So 10 treatments are like 10 months in the gym. What it does, it burns fat as an energy source to basically build the muscle. And you expect a slimmer, more athletic body after a package of 10 treatments. Now, how it was developed? It was invented by the co-inventor of the pacemaker. As I said, it was funded by the Multiple Sclerosis Society. They thought that they can create a device that's going to be like a pacemaker for multiple sclerosis, like it's going to replace the signal of the motor nerve. And it was manufactured, initially it was built in London University and then manufactured at the Innova Science Park in the UK, which is funded by the European Communion. It has, it's cleared, 510K cleared by the FDA. It's cleared for muscle conditioning, which is basically muscle building. And that's another part of the FDA website where the Magnum is located. And it has a number of certificates. It has ISO, which is the certificate for the company and the good standing manufacturing, and it has the CE certificate of universal safety, and that is again from UV Innovations that is manufacturing it. Now, this is the question: should you exercise or not exercise? And we have the picture of an athlete here. You're sweating, and somebody who's just sitting there with their cocktail, kind of doing the Magnum. Of course, I have to say that if you combine both, you will get much, much better results. But for the lazy ones like myself and other people perhaps in this audience, this is, I guess, the solution. So, what does that mean to do ion Magnum treatment? Why is it like exercise? Is it just going to the gym that you lose the weight and you build the muscle? No, it's the hormones that do the work. Because people that are deficient in growth hormone or thyroid hormone, for example, no matter how long they exercise, they don't lose, they don't build the muscle, they don't lose the fat. So exercise is not the whole story. So here you have gain without pain, because basically what the ion Magnum does, it mimics the signal of the motor nerve and it increases the secretion of the hormones. And how does it do it? It goes from the signal of the nerve, the motor nerve, goes to the brain. So basically what the ion Magnum does, it gives a signal from the outside, it amplifies the signal of the motor nerve via resonance. The way two waves meet and they make a bigger wave, pretty much. So from the motor nerve, it goes to the brain. The brain will give the instructions to pituitary, to hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the thyroid, to kind of release the thyroid. And of course, also the growth hormone, which will become IGF-1 in the muscle. The thyroid will become T3, T4, then T3 to burn the fat, and the IGF-1 will build the muscle. So again, ion Magnum, motor nerve, then it goes to the brain, pituitary, thyroid hormones, growth hormones. It also secretes DHEA, you'll see later the testosterone, we have found evidence for that. And that reinforces the immune system and increases bone density and collagen. So the growth hormone is the muscle toning building, and the T3 is the lipolysis. The lipolysis is basically an effect, sort of a reason for the muscle building to occur. It gives the energy for the muscle building to occur. And again, this is a diagram of how it goes from the motor nerve to the brain, and then it burns the fat and builds the muscle, and burns the fat as an energy source pretty much. Ion Magnum now with other technologies. Lasers and cryolysis that burn the fat, and the problem with it is as the fat contents like the glucose, the lipids, and the toxins enter the bloodstream, could clog the arteries. Well, here it's a stepwise process. You just burn as much fat as is necessary to build the muscle. You don't just burn fat indiscriminately. And plus, you build muscle, which you cannot do with other techniques like cryolysis. So Ion Magnum is basically like a fast-paced, effortless exercise that increases the hormones and enhances your health, just like exercise does. But instead for exercise, you use the Ion Magnum. And again, it was made for people with multiple sclerosis that could not exercise. So it can be used in a number of people, of course, healthy individuals that are very lazy, or people on statins that cannot exercise, or very fat people that don't feel like exercising, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the main advantages of the Ion Magnum is that it helps reducing visceral fat, which is not the case with other techniques. And we cannot do cryolysis or laser on visceral fat because you could damage the vital organs. Experimental results, we did an MRI study with the Ion Magnum, and what we found was a significant decrease of visceral fat, and this is a probability level of 0.001, quite significant. It also showed a significant decrease of subcutaneous fat, again a very high significance level. Triglyceride levels was also decreased, a very important aspect of health. You don't want triglycerides in the system. And MRI results also showed an increased muscle mass. Basically, it burns the fat as an energy source to build the muscle. But it has some other benefits. Like, for example, IGF-1 was significantly increased, and T3 levels were also significantly increased. It also increased DHEA, which was something that was an exciting and kind of surprising result. And it also increased testosterone to people that were deficient in testosterone. So we don't expect to grow more hair if you are a normal subject that has normal testosterone levels. Now, another advantage of the Ion Magnum is that it separates the red blood cells, so it increases blood flow pretty much. So it's a little bit like a Viagra kind of thing. We have had doctors who have reported increased in sexual function, and it's basically because it separates the red blood cells pretty much. And this is the results of the study. As you can see, before treatment, there was mostly erythrocyte aggregation, which is when the blood cells are extremely close to each other. And after the 6 Ion Magnum treatments, you had mostly erythrocyte separation. And I'll show you what this looks like. This is the before, and this is the after of subject 19. And this is the before and the after of subject 10. We had 19 subjects in the study. Now, this is the problems with lasers, and again, you can do a laser to get the fat out, and then you can use the Ion Magnum to basically tone the skin and tone the body. So you can combine treatments, and of course you can get a much faster lipolysis with a laser than you would get with the Ion Magnum. The problem, this lumpiness and bruising, all that can be again corrected with the Ion Magnum treatment. So it's good to combine with different other treatments. Plastic surgery, again, the scarring is going to be reduced after the Ion Magnum, and of course the muscle is going to be built. So it's recommended that you can use with plastic surgery as well. Now, there are problems with laser and radio frequency treatments as a long-term problems that will happen, and there is some researchers that report increased inflammation after laser treatments, and this is their names. And there were researchers who found an increased inflammation after radiofrequency, and that is the name. With the iron magnum, we have a decrease in inflammation, which is again another advantage of the procedure. Inflammation has been associated with a number of medical disorders as well as aging. So having a device that can reduce the inflammation is an advantage in that particular area. This is the results of the iron magnum from Slim Express in India. They did the clinical studies, and I will show you some of the results. Also shows that there was decrease of visceral fat and also an increased level of health in terms of the diabetic status of these patients. This is from Indonesia, the before and after. As you can see, this scar is also has been reduced and has been improved somewhat after the treatment. It's a long-term scar, so it's not going to go away completely with these particular devices anyway. This is from India, before and after, and this is from Singapore. This is actually only 4 treatments, and it's a younger individual. So the younger the person, the faster and better the results. The older the person, the much more slower the results. And if someone is diabetic or hypothyroid, is going to need a lot more treatments. Again, there is no miracle situation here, but it is like exercise, and instead of going for an exercise, you do the iron magnum instead. This is the before and after with on someone's leg. It's 12 treatments, and you can see a significant decrease, you know, much slimmer legs, much more tighter. The muscle is tighter. This is only after 6 treatments. There is some improvement, quite a bit of improvement there. And this is it. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I did have some. Could you please explain again the exact mechanism of action? So what I understood is it provides an electrical input in the muscle, and you suppose that it goes retrogradely through the nerves.
Okay,
Yeah.
what it does is that the co-inventor of the pacemaker, basically what he did is he took different nerves, motor nerves, and he tried to rebuild the signal of the motor nerve. That's what he did. So here, the signal of the motor nerve is now rebuilt, unlimited resolution, because that device is completely, it has no computer in it. It's made by hand. So it's a limited resolution. It's the signal of the motor nerve. You put it transcutaneously and you push it into the system via voltage. The way, you've heard needleless vaccination, like vaccination without needles?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what they do. They just have a gun and they push the vaccine through the skin via voltage. Here you push the signal with voltage. Well, that signal is going to go to the motor nerve. When 2 signals are met and they are similar, they resonate. When resonance occurs, it's like 2 waves meeting and making a bigger wave. So basically, it amplifies the signal of the motor nerve. This is what exercise is. During exercise, the signal of the motor nerve is amplified. So basically, you create this amplification of the signal of the motor nerve without exercise, and it goes to the brain. It starts releasing the hormones as if you were exercising. But because you don't get any oxygen involved, and you're never out of breath because you're just sitting there, and this goes on and on and on, you can have a much more intense exercise that you would have if you went to the gym. If you were an average person who went to the gym, you would exercise 1 hour, you would get tired, and then you would just leave. Here, it would be like exercising for 5 hours, for 6 hours. So it's a much higher result, it's much better effect, much faster effect, I should say. Of course, if you do the iron magnum and then you exercise, for some reason the results are even better. It just clicks somehow. But For people that cannot exercise, that they're obese, that they're on statins, that they don't want to exercise. I don't want to exercise. I don't have time to go to the gym. They just don't have time to go to the gym. It's a sort of a solution. It's effortless exercise. That's all it is. And it does what the exercise does. Basically, that's what the exercise does. Reduces hormones and you build muscle. The fat is burned.
There is no direct muscular fasciculation contraction,
No.
So the person doesn't feel anything.
You do feel something. You might start feeling some at the deeper levels. That is the lower frequencies that work on visceral fat. You don't feel that because it's just much deeper. But at the lower and higher level, there will be some muscle stimulation. But it's not what does the work. It's the hormones that do the work. The way in gym, it's not the fact that you're exercising and you're moving your muscles. It's the fact that the body will release the hormones, and that's what builds the muscle and basically burns the fat.
In the data that showed the hormone release was done in patients with multiple sclerosis, or they were normal subjects?
No, they were normal subjects, and none of them were diabetic. There was a sort of selection on the sample to not have diabetic subjects because they contaminate, they need more treatments because they don't respond as fast. So it was non-diabetic subjects. They were big, they're very high BMI, and there were 19 subjects, and they did 12 treatments.
And for anyone who has heart problems, because I mean that was
pacemaker, you cannot. That's a non-indication. Contraindication is pacemaker. Sometimes we say epilepsy, although epilepsy doesn't seem to be a non-indication. But we say epilepsy, or if they have a major disorder, to ask for a letter from their clinician to find out if they can do it. But it doesn't seem to affect people with high blood pressure or anything like that. But people with pacemaker, the signals do contradict each other for some reason. Because they're both voltage driven and same.
Is there any other question?
No questions. Okay, thank you very much.
So,